What's up everybody, welcome back to another video of Flutter and Firebase Developer Bootcamp's week 5. And I know the previous one was the last, but I thought why not to make this week 5 more productive by integrating push notifications also in the same WhatsApp clone. And I also uploaded a post in the community and I got so many upvotes to do the same thing, integrating push notifications, so we are here doing it. Anyways, let's get back to the topic. So we'll be using Firebase Cloud Messaging for sending push notifications to the devices. So what is Firebase Cloud Messaging? Firebase Cloud Messaging, or FCM, is basically a cross-platform messaging solution from Firebase that allows you to reliably send messages and notifications to Android, iOS and web applications all for free. And relax, only manual sending is free. When it comes to generating notifications on some action in Firestore, the Firebase Cloud Functions come into play. So now, what are Firebase Cloud Functions? Firebase Cloud Functions are serverless framework that allows us to run backend code automatically in response to some specific events. Think of them as little piece of code that wake up and do their job upon a certain trigger, without you needing to manage any servers yourself. These functions can be used for different various tasks such as administrative actions, scheduling stuff, and we will be using them for integrating push notifications in our Flutter application, and they can also be used for many other tasks. And also, one more thing that I want to tell you is that if you also want to learn how we can do scheduling with Firebase functions, I already have created a video on that topic. It's 1+ hour video where I wrote Firebase functions and utilizing Google Cloud tasks, and I have implemented the scheduling stuff like making a Firestore document TTL time to live, for example, giving a time to it, so after that certain time it will be expired, deleted, so you can also schedule it for update or delete. So it's upon you how you use it based on your application requirement. So if you want to learn that also, please watch that video. I already have created a detailed video on this topic. So now, before we get started, you need to keep one thing in mind. That is, the Firebase Cloud Functions are available in the Blaze plan, so you need to add billing before you proceed further and start writing function triggers. Since I don't have billing enabled in this project that we are currently connected with in our WhatsApp clone, so I'll switch my Firebase connection to the Firebase project where I have billing enabled, and I will also not upload this code onto the GitHub in order to prevent function invocations and other services usage, because it will at the end charge me. So I'll push the code of the function and the specific parts that we will be modifying in this project, and I will simply provide a link to you so you can take the code from here, and I will create the GitHub just for that, and will write the good documentation for you to understand how you can use this code, and you can also watch this video to know how you can use that code that I'll be providing separately, not from this WhatsApp clone GitHub repository. So all you have to do is to enable billing and you're good to go with functions. So anyways, let's start the video, and we are now going to switch our Firebase connection from the WhatsApp clone to some other project where I have the Blaze plan and I have added the billing. So what I have to do is to move to the console, and I recently uploaded the code on GitHub, but I won't do this time, and I'll provide you the code in separate gist file. So we're gonna go and write Flutter Fire configure, and when I hit enter, it will fetch the available projects, and in that I will select the project where I have the billing enabled. So I have different projects in here where the billing is enabled in that Instagram social graph. So I will select that and hit enter, and I want to set up this for Android and iOS, not the macOS and web, and I will hit enter again. So it's fetching the register Android Firebase, and it's not register Firebase Android app example is not registered on the Firebase Instagram social graph. Register a new Firebase. Okay, it's registered now. Fetching for the iOS, and now it's registering, and now it will ask for one more thing to override. That would be the inside the iOS Firebase app ID file JSON Yes, you want to override, I will go for yes. And also for the WhatsApp clone, do you want to replace the Google Services JSON with the Instagram social graph one Google Services JSON? Yes, I want to do. And the Firebase options, yes, I also want to replace this. So once this is done, my Firebase connection is switched from one project to another where I have the Blaze plane enabled. So after this has been done, I will once do Flutter clean to clean the Xcode workspace, and then I will run the pubget again to get all the dependencies back and get back the applications in the real shape so it will work. And I will do Flutter pubget again to verify everything is set up from scratch again. So now I will ignore this time. And also now let's go to that Instagram social graph Firebase project to show you our apps are created or not. You can see I have different apps created in this Firebase project, which I have blurred them because these are other projects just for here testing. I just hide their names. And here we have our iOS application, and here we have our Android application. It is created and set up with our Flutter application, and we have this Firebase messaging that we will be using to send messages to the devices. So here we have to manage the campaigns using the new unified campaign experience. Let's create one, and we will select the Firebase notifications messages. It will send notification message to instantly notify user of promotions or new features. User will receive notification messages even if they are outside of the app. So these are basically the background notifications. So I'll go for create, and I will get this user interface in front of me. So to send a message to a device manually from here, which is free of cost and only the functions required, and we're gonna go for this in a while. So let's say I want to say hi, and let's say hello in the body. So now this button is enabled. You can see the overview of the functions, not the functions but the notifications, how that's gonna look like. This is the expanded view and the initial state. When I do send message, it is going to require the registration token of the device to send that notification to the device. And the registration token is going to look something like this. You can see for testing I added this one, and this will be unique for each device, so I'm going to delete it like that. And when we go forward for writing code, so I will show you how you can generate these registration tokens using the Firebase messaging package. So now let's cancel that. We can't send message for now. It was just the overview of that, how you can send one manually. And once you have the idea of this messaging, now we can go to the Firebase functions. So inside the Firebase functions, we are going to have a dashboard and waiting for your first deploy. So we have to write a cloud function in the Firebase node project, and then we will deploy that function, and it will comes in here, and we'll be waiting for the certain trigger so that it will execute the code that we have written inside that and will generate notifications for the specific devices in our application. So now in our Flutter application, if we want to send notifications to the different users' devices, so we need to keep track of their device token registered. So in the user feature, we have to go to the domain entities, and we have to modify the user entity to add one more field so that we will be storing the user device token in there. And whenever we want to send notification from backend side, so we will fetch that token of the specific user, the recipient user that we are sending message to, and based on that we will generate notification for that specific device of that user. So we're gonna, let's duplicate this, and will be a token simply. We'll copy that, and let's duplicate this, will be a token, and also in here a token. And in the data layer models user model, we have to add the same token, and also here the token, the same in the super constructor. And in the from snapshot, we will again duplicate that, we'll do a token, and here also the token, and lastly the token again. And in the remote data source implementation, while creating the user, we will pass the token as empty from here, because initially it will be empty string and will be updated every time the user comes to the application. So I have to go to the app home, and inside the home in the init stat, I will every time the user comes to the home page or close the application and come back, so only in that case it will be updated. So you will be calling the update user method in here. So we need to modify the update user also in here. So we already have the update for the fields, so we will simply Ctrl D to duplicate, and we'll select them like for the token also. So they will also update a token if we pass the data to it, to this update user method. And now once we have the setting for the token in our user model, so now we can go ahead and start generating the token. So for that, we need a dependency to be added in our pubspec.yaml file, and that would be the dependency of, let's check if we already have one, Firebase messaging. No, we don't have one, so we have to add one. Here we go, we got the Firebase messaging. After that, let's go for pubget. And once this has been done, we are gonna go ahead and inside the features, we'll create one more feature, and that would be of notifications. And once we got a directory, inside that we will create a directory use cases. Inside these use cases, we will create the get device token use case, and inside that we're gonna do same as any other use case in our WhatsApp clone application. We created one get device token use case, which depends upon the Firebase messaging, this time not any repository, because we are just getting the device token. So didn't it will be so cumbersome if we create domain, data, and presentation just for few small tasks. So architecture is for something to handle the complex flow of the methods of the specific feature, so that next time if we want to add new features, so it do not come up with a headache. So like everything is connected up, so we cannot add a new feature. So architecture main purpose is this: the business logic that we have the entities and the domain layer is dump of any other layer. So here we have just a device token, and it's not dealing with any other thing, and this is not going to be modified. So in order to keep things simple, I just created the use cases, and it's directly depending upon the Firebase messaging, as simple as that, just to get a device token. And in the call function, it's returning the get device token, which can be an null string. So it's returning the token. So now we are gonna go ahead in the main injection container, and here we will duplicate this firestore, and it's going to throw an error that is firestore already defined. We know that, and we're going to change it right now. That will be Firebase messaging. We will take the Firebase messaging instance this time. Let's go for import, and we got the instance of the Firebase messaging. We are going to register them as lazy singleton, and also we are going to register the get device token use case. Also in here, it is going to require the Firebase messaging, so you'll pass the Firebase messaging. That's it. So we have now the Firebase messaging registered also in the lazy singleton, and also the device token, so we can use it anywhere in our application when it starts. So its instance will be created, so we can use it in our application anywhere. So now once we have this method of the get device token, we can go ahead to the home page, and in the home page here we need to update the token field of the user every time he comes to the home page after checking back in here. So when we will go for here adding the get device token use case, calling it from the DISL since we have registered it, and when a call is made, we will pass, we have to do then, like when the task is completed, the future task, it will return us the device token value, and we will print it somehow in the console so that we can also test out the sending notifications manually to that device. If we run the application, we will do update user on the current user ID with the device token that we just received, and then user update complete, and that's it. Also, one more thing here in the main injection container, not main injection container, but the main dot here we have to do, after the Firebase initialize app, we have to request the permissions from the Firebase messaging instance, and we'll modify the fields like that. So once we have this done, we will go ahead and run our application and test the manual sending of notifications. And once we have this done, we'll go ahead and write the backend functions, and we'll connect the generating notifications in here so that when we send a message to the other user, he will receive that message right away, the message we sent and our name in the pop-up in the push notification. So that's it. Now let's run the application to test everything out, if it's working or not, and to deal with some potential issue if it raises some. So let's run the main dart and let's wait for it for some while until it runs. So when the application runs successfully, it will ask for you to allow the notifications permission, since we have added the request permission in here. So you have to simply allow, and it will let you to open the application further. And when the application opens, I signed with a user in our WhatsApp clone, and when I do so, it calls the method in the home page, this one, and it gives me the device token, which must be updated in the database, and here we also got it. So let's go to the database of this user and let's take the token from there. So in the database, let's go to the Firestore. Inside the user collection, I have some other collections also for the testing, and we are not touching them anyways. And for this user, a token must be updated here, and we got it in here, but why it's not updated? It must be. Let's copy that token and let's start the application again, and we got the token again, the same token in here. And now let's go to the Firestore, and here we got that. Now let's copy that token from here and let's go to the Firebase messaging, and from here this time you'll send a manual message, and then you'll go for the other Firebase function. Let's say WhatsApp clone, and it's a hello, we are from space. Let's send a message, add the token in here, and let's go to the home and make the application in the pause state. Now it's in background, and when we send a test message, we must receive one in here, and we did. We got that message in here. Let's open that area. WhatsApp clone, hello, we are from space. So that was the manual message that we sent to that device using the registration token. Now we are gonna go ahead and write the Firebase function to generate a notification. But before that, I want you to understand one more thing. That would be, we have to create one more collection inside each user where his notification will be stored. So the Firebase functions will work based on that. For example, let me draw a picture in here of that. We're gonna have a users in user collection on the specific user UID. Same as we had other collections, we are gonna have the notifications for each of the user who is the recipient, that he receives a message from the other user. Inside this notification, his notifications will be stored in here, like one, and that won't be string anyways, but just for showing you how the notification will be stored of the users. So here we'll store the notifications. So we need to create in the constant in the Firebase collection one more constant in here that will be notifications, and we'll paste it in here. So once we have this notification collection constant, now we have to create a repository in here. Let's say repository. Inside that repository, we're gonna have the notification repository, and we will directly implement the code in here. Since it's not so complicated code, and not so much code, so that we have to create domain data and presentation and UI for this, and we don't have any UI for notifications in our WhatsApp. So it's just a method that will be called when a message is sent. So the notification repository is going to utilize the notification entity, so we will create one entity for this also. That will be entity. Inside that entity, let's make it entities, and inside that we're gonna have the notification entity, where we will have the data of the notification, so that this type of data will be stored in the notifications, and you will send that data to the other user device. So the scenario will be like, when we send message to the other user, so the notification document will be created inside the notification collection for the recipient user ID. In the recipient user, the notification collection will be created on the document. So when a document is created in there will be the other user ID and the current user ID, which means sender and the recipient ID. And based on this path in the user's user ID, notification ID, we have to trigger the onCreate function in the Firebase functions, and from there we will retrieve the user device token from the recipient ID that will be attached in the notification entity, and we will get that user. From here we will tag the device token, and then we will send notification from the backend when a notification document is created for the recipient user. So it will become more clear to you when you go forward for implementing the functions also. So let's go for the entity. That would be pretty simple. So we got the notification entity, which stores notification ID, the unique identifier for this, the user ID who is the current user, the other user ID who is the recipient, the username that will be the title of the notification, and the user profile, which for now we are not using, and the created ad, we are also not using that, but just to maintain the entity shape or the model shape, so we just add these additional fields also. And the description will be the message that is sent to the recipient, to the other user. And then we are simply converting from snapshot to document, and the from snapshot is not needed for now, but just let's keep it like that to maintain the from JSON to JSON like that. Only the to document will be used to convert the data, so that we can store it in the Firebase Firestore, and we will retrieve that in that function, and will send the notification from backend side to that specific user who received a message. And in the repository there will be a notification repository, which will be depending upon the Firebase Firestore. And here we have a future white method, and which is going to the notification collection. Inside the user collection, on the other user ID, which means the recipient, here will be created the notifications, and we will take the notification ID as a unique identifier from the Firebase, and the UID will come from the notification entity wherever we are calling the generate notification, and other fields will be taken from notification entity. Timestamp will be taken now, and then we will on the doc on the notification ID we will set the notification data. Where it will be called, first we have to register it so that we can call it anywhere in the main injection container. After that we have to duplicate this, and we'll call the notification repository, and here we got the notification repository registered in the main injection container. So now we can go ahead and open the chat inside the data remote in the remote resource implementation, and right after the add to my chat we will call disl to take the instance of the notification repository, generate notification, and it requires the notification entity. In the UID we pass the sender UID, and in the recipient and in the other user ID we pass the recipient UID, the user who will be receiving the message or the notification, and the username will be the sender name, and the profile and the description will be recent text message will be taken based on the type. So if we send photo, so you'll receive a notification as a description as we have received the dummy notification, and if we receive the message, so the message will become the description or the body description of the notification. And to tag this DI we have to import the main injection container in here, import main injection SDI, and we are done with this. So every time we send message to the other user, this is going to create the notification collections in his document will be an asset collection, same as here in the Firestore database we have the chat and notifications too, and this is here because I already tested out, so the notifications will come in here and the my chat will also be in here, and same as the my chat is in here, the notification will be here also like that. So this is going to do that stuff that I told you. So once we have this setup to create the notification document for the recipient user in the notification collection, so now we can go ahead and take the decision on that on the backend. So now we're gonna create the Firebase node project from the server side, and here we will trigger the notifications, and here we will write the Firebase functions to generate notification for the specific device for the recipient. So what you have to do is to create an empty directory. I name it WhatsApp functions, and you can name it anything, and inside that directory you have to open up the terminal, and inside that you have to run the Firebase init, and this will only work in case if you have the Firebase tool installed. So if you don't have installed, you have to do npm install -g Firebase tools like that. So when you do this, this will install the Firebase tools for you, and once this is done, you have to log in by doing the Firebase login to the account where you have that Firebase project, and then you will be allowed to do Firebase init. And once you do, it will ask for what purposes you are initializing the Firebase node project. So we are doing it for the configuration of the Cloud Functions directory and its files, and you can also do it for hosting and deployment or anything that you want to do with the Firebase. We will select this by pressing the space, and it will be selected, and I will hit enter, and now it's saying, do you want to create a new project or you have the existing one? So I'll go for use an existing project since we have the Instagram clone one, and I will select the project that I have in my Flutter application connected, that is Instagram social graph, and I will hit enter, and it's setting up the functions for me, and it's saying which language do you want to select. I'll go for the TypeScript because I love that language, and it's saying now, do you want to use lint to catch the probable bugs and enforce style? No, don't add this one. And it had some functions files, and it's saying, do you want to install the dependencies in PM now? Yes, go ahead and install them. So it will take some while and will install the necessary dependencies. Then we'll go for writing the functions. So let's wait for this now. So it installed the necessary dependencies, and now we have to go to the package.json. We have this style of the package.json for the Firebase functions, and now we have to do nothing but go to the source index.ts, and here we have to write the function. So we will remove all the code and we'll do Ctrl S to save the file, and then here first of all we will import the functions from the Firebase functions, and also will import the admin from the Firebase admin, and will initialize the admin so that we can perform any task in the Firebase from the admin SDK. Then we have to name our function by doing exports, and here will come the name of your function, and we will initialize that by doing the function start firestore document, and inside the user collection on the user ID, inside the notification and the notification ID, and we will do on create an asynchronous snapshot. It gives a snapshot and also the context of the functions. So what we are doing in here is simply defining a function on that document ID. We are saying if inside that notification collection, if a document is created, the on create means if it's created, then we have to take this decision. As I said, it's a piece of code waiting for the certain trigger. So when a notification is created for the recipient user inside the notification collection, so this function will trigger and will retrieve the data for the recipient user, take the token, and simply send the notification to his device, and that's it. That's all will be happening inside that function. So next, we have to do, we are extracting the information from the notifications and we are doing snapshot the data. So we got the notification information in the map string dynamic, and we are accessing the recipient UID from the context param.user ID, since that will be the other user ID as we have specified it in here, user collection and the other user ID. So it means this user ID is the other user ID, so we got it in here in that variable. Then we have to fetch the recipient information to take the device token of that user. So same as we have accessed the notification data, we got the recipient document by doing a wait file store on doc inside the user collection. We got his on his recipient ID, we send the GET request, so we got his data and we stored in here the recipient data. And next here we have to do, we will check a condition. If the recipient data exists and the recipient data.token also exists, then we have to take the token from the recipient data from the user that we have get in here, and we will create a payload for the notification. So inside the payload we have to create a map for the notification. The title will be the notification data.username and the body will be the notification data.description, and the action click will be Flutter notification click, and it must be as string constant like that. And this will be the data that we can listen on our front end and take any action that we want. So we will also, then we are passing the token to the message variable. Inside it has a map, and the notification will be the title, the payload notification title and the payload notification body, and the data will be the payload.data. And that data can be anything that we want to send to the front end to take any action there. And then we will do try from the admin messaging, send the message, that message, and will console log notification sent successfully, otherwise error sending notification, and in this else no device token for that recipient. So that is a pretty simple function, simply retrieving the notification data, then retrieving the recipient user data, checking the condition if the notification token for that user exists, then prepare a payload, prepare a message, pass the data from the payload, then send a message on that token to the device, and that's it. Now we will save that file, and then in here we will do Firebase deploy only functions, and here we will do the name of the function, send user notification. We will hit enter and it will start deploying that function, deploying functions here. So it will take some while, and once this is deployed we'll go for testing the generate notifications onto device, if it's working or not. So once the deployment completes, you will get this message deploy complete, and now you have to go to your Firebase, and inside the Firebase functions, when you go in here, you will see the send user notification has been deployed. This is the document create, which will trigger when a notification is created on that path. And then let's go to the file store, and here we have the users, and now let's go for testing. So I will open up this already running application and we'll hot restart it, and also let's connect it one more, the Infinix, my real device, and also run the application in there. So now I have application running on two devices, one the real one and the other the emulator one. So what I have to do is just to go and verify the tokens in the Firestore database, and here for John we have the token here, and also for his we also have the token in here. So both have the tokens of their devices. Now let's say the John received message from the other user, and I will keep this in the background, close it up like this, and let's say send message to him, hello there, and send. The message is sent, and let's wait for it. You can see he received the notification. When I open this up, the John is saying hello there. Let's click this. It will take me to the application. I got the hello there, and this time if I close this like that and send a message to him, let's say I want to send a photo in here, say this one, and send it to him. And once it's uploaded to the Firestore, not the Firestore but the storage, it's sent. He received the notification. It's saying the Adnan sent the photo. So that's how the push notifications is working. Now they're triggering on the background side, and when a document is created in the notification collection, a cloud function triggers this cloud function that we have written, and then it sends notification to the other user. So that was your push notifications that you were asked for. I have implemented and tested them in the Android, and these push notification integration will not work in the iOS because the iOS requires more things to deal with, such as the Apple Developer Program enrollment for enabling push notifications, and also adding other Apple push notification certificates and many other things. So we will deal with iOS push notifications in some other separate video since it requires more things to deal with. So if you found this video helpful, thumbs up a like and share this bootcamp with your friends and colleagues who want to learn real app development in Flutter. Also, let's set a target of 50 likes for this video. If it crosses that, I will start uploading week 6 and then week 7, where we will do more advanced things, where week 6 include Google Map clone, uploading the package on PubDev, and the week 7 platform specific code for Android and iOS, and also the publishing apps on Play Store and App Store. So now it's upon you. So that's it. See you in the next one.